That was fast. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. Super excited always to spend time with my dear friend Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. He is here on Heroes Always Welcome. He is a veteran, and we are incredibly thankful for his service. He is a leadership guy. He does so much good in the community. He has a company, Triad Leadership Solutions. He's got his own much more famous podcast than mine, worldwide, world-renowned, the one and only Enrique. Welcome, my friend. How you doing today?
Thank you, Ted, for having me. Thank you, everybody that's joining in. Excited about the conversation.
I'm excited to have you. We've been planning a lot for a show like this. You already have such a presence in the podcast world, in the veteran world, and we're going to get to that. But before we do, I told you the audience loves an origin story. So tell us a little bit about you, kind of your journey, your military journey, and then a little bit about your journey to where we are now.
All right, so I'll give you the cliff notes because it's a long time ago, right? Joined the military 18 years old, did 26 years as a meteorologist, oceanographer. Opportune that we're actually having another tropical storm.
Unbelievable.
So decided to retire, make Orlando my home. Leadership development, that's where I started to focus on because I saw so many challenges, not only in the military, but in the corporate sector on leadership gaps, things that were just hurting people. Now, I like to joke around and say I take you from success to success. And I add that K in there.
That's right. I forgot about that. I love that.
I add that K because it is what I call K factors, things that are not supposed to be in the middle, that are in the middle of your leadership style, your leadership execution, and are causing you to experience a little gain, but not all the ones that you were supposed to.
Right.
Triad Leadership Solutions came from that, where I develop leaders both on a personal one-on-one level through our website, triadleadershipsolutions.com. And you can always book a call with me in there, and we'll get into the intricacies of your leadership gaps, but also corporate trainer, trained towards leadership development skills, soft skills, things of that nature.
All right. So I still need an origin story for you and a all right. Well, we are still here, so y'all are gonna have to see what we're dealing with in the power grid downtown.
Right.
I think when a lot of veterans that I've spoken to, I've had a whole bunch on the show, and one of the challenges they always have is when they transition out of active duty and become a veteran. It's a different world. It's a different world from what they're used to. There aren't a team of brotherhood and sisterhood there where you're willing to lay your life down. And so trying to maneuver through building a business, corporate America, all of that is very challenging. So tell us a little bit about your transition out of the military into what you're doing.
Yeah, it's funny. I get that question all the time. I am still transitioning. That's the best thing I could say about any veteran getting out of service, or whether you're leaving service or you're retiring. You will always transition. And that's not something foreign to us. We transition every 3 years. 2 to 3 years, we're moving somewhere else. We're doing something else. So we're not foreign to transition. The thing is that we do it inside the bubble of our world.
Right.
It's always the same, right? You're always going to be at a command. You're always going to be around sailors, airmen, Marines, all that. You're always going to have a CO, XO. You're always going to have a command sergeant major or command senior chief, master chief. These elements are the same. What happens when we transition out is that I like to paint it this way. The military community represents 1% of the populace of America. So while you were serving, you were that 1%. The 99% of the world learned to live without you.
Sure.
And so when you learn to live without someone, you will remember them fondly, but that's about it.
Right.
And so we've been developing and growing in the bubble of the military world. And then we exit and expect the same stature, the same place to translate to, and it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Number one, you're unknown.
Right.
And that same person, like when you was 18, you went in, like for me, 18 went in, there was an 18-year-old, has been in corporate America for 30 years. I've been in the military. They don't, when you come out, you're the bottom.
That's correct.
And that's just it. So
even though you're trained, you are so well trained to do the job that you have or had in the military, it doesn't always translate out into corporate world.
Right. And you have to learn. I think if everybody could understand that that's where you are, you'll learn to say, okay, well, now I have to do some strategy. I'd have to do the things that we do, tactical, operational, strategic. We know how to do those things, and we need to know where we are first in order to know where we need to go. And it may take some time. Every good thing does. So give yourself grace. Understand that you will transition for the rest of your life, and make a plan, and you'll get there.
So how did you decide to do what you are doing now? How did you make that leap? Because you're meteorologist, right? So you told us all about the weather, and you're the one I'm going to call next time for hurricane season for sure. But how did you decide that, okay, I'm going to take this set of skills that I have from being in service for so long, and this is how I'm going to implement them or make them work out in corporate world?
Well, I had to make a choice from the easy and the hard. The easier thing would have been go to West 2 or whatever channel and apply for a meteorology position, or go to the National Weather Service and apply for a meteorology. That would have been the easy thing. But that's not where my heart was. My heart was in the development of leaders, because I saw so many. So let me just say, when you have a bad leader, that's not the story. The story is all of the people that get affected and impacted by that bad. That's the real story.
Agreed.
And so when I saw that was just a continual process on both fronts, sometimes in the military and I saw it in corporate America, I wanted to help those that were suffering from these leaders. Now, obviously, the work has to be done on the leader, but the goal is save some heartache. Because I was at the end of it. I'm sure you've been at the end of a bad leader experience. And so in my attempt to help these individuals, I'm actually helping the masses.
Right. I think the problem with bad leaders is that bad leaders don't know they're bad on so many levels.
Right.
And some of them can take consulting, some of them can take the positive criticism, constructive criticism.
Right.
But a lot of them literally don't want to hear it, and they have a management or leadership style, and I use leadership very in quotes, trust me. And I have dealt with that. I have been in that position many times. It is such a challenge when you know that you have a goal, a mission, you have something that you're supposed to be accomplishing, and you cannot because of leadership. And that is where you have to try to figure out, okay, what's my next move? What am I going to do? And I feel like there's a lot of people who feel that way out there.
Well, you bring up a good point, and it's self-awareness. Self-awareness is so integral in the development of a leader. But you can be self-aware and do nothing, right? You actually can do that. So self-awareness is just the tip of it.
Yes.
Bringing someone to action is the other part, and that's really where I come in. You don't have to tell somebody. Let's just from a church standpoint, you don't have to tell somebody they're sinning. They know. They don't. You don't have to tell them. What do they do from that point when they realize, man, I'm falling short, and that equates to the leadership. I'm falling short in my leadership. It is the action that actually helps them get to that.
Yes.
So self-awareness is one, but also remember that we work in a system that actually promotes mediocrity. It does.
It's true.
You
It's
could
so
do
true.
just so much and get an award. You could do but so much and get promoted. And so that doesn't breed an environment and an urgency to say, I need to take some action.
Right.
No, they're just happy they are aware that they are a bad leader and they keep going because they're getting bonuses and they're getting promoted and they're getting all the awards.
It's kind of
So,
like it reminds me, leaders like that remind me of the audition part of American Idol, where their whole life somebody's told them they're a great singer, and somebody has convinced these leaders that they're great
right.
leaders or they're good leaders because they're continually rewarded with a promotion or
Mhm.
whatever it is, accolades. And unfortunately, that is so detrimental to the people who are trying to grow within them, that can see past that BS. I think
And you can't hide it.
you can't
You
hide
can't
it.
hide it. I always tell folks, I say, you want to go back and if you want to really know if you're a good leader, just ask your people. Your people will tell you, and some will tell you real frankly.
As they should. And I think
As they, but we don't have systems for that frank
we
conversation,
don't.
right?
We don't.
We have reprimand. You tell us, yeah,
Yes.
oh, okay. Oh, so you think
Yes.
that's who I am? Okay, we'll see at the evaluation. Yeah,
And that's what people, that is one reason why people don't comment on or give any kind of constructive input, criticism, whatever you want to label it, because they fear repercussions. They fear how that's going to make them look, because we're human
hmm,
and we don't, in general, like to be told what we're not doing right,
right.
even if it is exactly 100% on. So, how do you find a leader? What kind of leader comes to you and says, all right, something's not working? Because I believe that a lot of leaders, if they'd actually open up their hearts and their souls and their minds to that kind of thing, that we would have so much more productivity. But what kind of leader comes to you in that? And do you have to have like we used to call a come to Jesus meeting? Do you actually have to
Yeah.
lay it all out with them? How does that work?
Yeah. So who comes to me? Those that are not afraid of growth. Um, Growth is painful, and you have to not be afraid of it. If you're afraid of it, you will not come to me. But the beauty of my services is that if you're in the executive and CEO suite, that process is locked in, shut behind doors. No one will ever know that you came to me. I don't ask for testimonials and anything like that because I know the imperative behind
That's good.
that development and that confidentiality.
Yes.
So that's a good part. Now, leaders that are trying to grow and trying to get to the next level, you want people to understand that you're getting coached. You want people to know that you're investing in yourself. And so they're not too shy to give me a testimony and do that. So I allow for that. But the person that is not afraid to becoming the best version of themselves and allowing themselves to get to vote on them. We're in the voting season, right? Vote
Yes.
on you. Put the check in your block and by your name and say, you know what, I need this. I'm going to put some action to it. So fear or lack of fear is one of those factors.
It's interesting to me because I feel like we have kind of a crazy world going on. It's inflation, recession, whatever your beliefs are. You can tell that the business world has been impacted.
Right.
So if you have someone out there that might be a leader or somebody who wants to be a leader, um, what do you say to them in order for them to make the next step? Obviously, call Enrique.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that because I can. But I think that people don't, they're so filled with fear or trepidation that they don't know how to take even that initial first step. So, what can they do? What step or two can they do?
Yeah, and a lot, the environment, the economy is driving a lot of the urgency to go ahead and act on that you need. Well, let me give you this one piece. I do have a free option for those that are looking. I have a podcast called Developing the Leader Within Podcast. You put it like that, or if you're on YouTube, put at DTLW Podcast. It'll take you right to it. All the free information you want on leadership. I've interviewed over 150 leaders throughout the world. They will give you a great perspective on leadership. Maybe you'll get some tips that will, guide you where you want to. Now there's the paid option. Obviously, Ted just said, "Hey, come to me."
That's right.
What you get there is a detailed, personal, personally developed plan for you, for the things that are ailing your leadership. And you could go to triadleadershipsolution.com and get that. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Fear is holding you back, actually. And as a leader, fear is also hurting your people. Be the better leader, and vote for yourself. Go for your development, and let your people praise you for it, because they do.
I have worked with quote unquote leaders in the past, many over my 900 million year career. And I think that one of the biggest issues with a leader who doesn't recognize that there are challenges is they completely ignore the fact that they are the common denominator
Mm.
in all of the concerns and the problems. And this can be from the lowest tier of the food chain, to right below them. And if they don't recognize that all of these people are coming to them, there are issues in every department with each employee, then they are not there. They don't know how to recognize, or they choose not to recognize, that they're the common denominator. I think that has a lot to do with ego, but it also has to do, like you said earlier, with people who just have been praised for their leadership for so long that they've actually bought into the bullshit. My term. How do people who are under them get out from under them? How do people who are under them go, you know what? Other than listening to your amazing podcast, Developing the Leader Within, what are some steps they can do? Should they make a leap? Should they take a look at other opportunities? Uh, what do you think people should do under a leader who just does not want to hear anything about the fact that they may be the cause?
Well, I love that question, because it really dives into what can you do.
Yes.
Um, I mentioned strategic, operational, tactical. Right? If you don't know what those are, by all means, reach out to me. I'll explain it to you. But you have to have a strategy. You cannot just say, I'm gone. Um, I will tell you that in my experience, I have fired leaders, and it was like, what? How? I have fired leaders. And by that, I mean, I have said, I will not give you one more minute of my life as a leader to lead me down a road I know I'm not supposed to be going.
Right.
And I quit.
Good for you.
I quit. Now, like I said, you have to have a strategy,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
put myself in a position, or I at least was in a position to do so
Correct.
without any qualms. I have not looked back. I have not even, I just use it as a reference. You can do that, but you have to put yourself in a position. Are you communicating clearly? Are you doing all that you need to do? Because here comes your development as a
Right.
person that's being led. Your development calls for clear communication. Um, we say intellectual, right? That piece that you bring from from what you could. Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
If you say, oh, emotional intelligence for the, okay, I'll tell you that it wins most battles. I'll
Agreed.
tell you that.
I agree.
And also having a strategy for your career, for your life. If you can have those things planned and everything and it's in place, you can fire your leader. Imagine if your work center or your workshop or your division in one day say, I quit.
Right. Power.
That would only speak to one person. That's
That's right.
that leader
That's right.
that was left behind. And they're going to say, hold up, we lost everybody because of you. You're out. And then maybe you can get back in. But it's one of those things. My advice is, put yourself in a position where you can make that decision and have nothing to worry about. That is the true power within the workforce.
Love it. All right. So you can find Enrique on LinkedIn. You can also go to his website, which is scrolling across the bottom there. You can also find him on social media. Reach out to me if you cannot, for some reason, find him, because I know that his services can really make a difference in your organization and you as a leader or human being or developing the leader within. I always like to ask heroes like you, and I think all veterans and active military and their families really fall into this category. You're a hero, and I want to ask you, when I say the word hero to you, who is the first person that comes to mind?
Yeah, all those that actually gave their life for our nation. It's a word that kind of causes sometimes a little debate. I don't mind being called anything, and I believe me, I've been called all kinds of things. But
Haven't we all?
but hero, I understand where it comes from. I understand the spirit behind that word when it comes from the 99%. And I appreciate it. But yeah, those that gave their life to so that we can keep our freedoms, those are heroes.
Amen. All right. That is it for today. We are going to have an amazing time coming up because Enrique is going to be with me. I don't know what he did in a past life, but he's decided that he wants to do this with me, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you here. So we will be here every week interviewing veterans from across the world, a lot of real estate professionals. We are going to talk about that, but we want you to know that you have a safe place to come in, talk about your journey, share your journey, and of course, inspire and motivate other people, which is what you do for me, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. Go to triadleadershipsolutions.com or reach out to me. We'll see you soon. Thank you to everyone who has served our country. We do appreciate it.